Have you noticed your eyes feel tired and dry the moment you wake up, even after a full night of sleep? There's a reason for that, and almost nobody talks about it. Before we go any further, if you care about your eyesight, hit that subscribe button, tap like right now, and share this with someone whose vision matters to you. It takes 3 seconds, and it genuinely helps this channel keep making videos like this one. Let's start with something most people never think about. Your eyes don't rest the moment you close them. While your body sleeps, your eyes are actually working. They're repairing tiny structures that got worn down during the day, clearing out waste, and restocking the nutrients they'll need for tomorrow. This happens every single night, whether you're aware of it or not. Here's the part that surprises most people. This repair work depends heavily on what's already in your bloodstream when you fall asleep. If your body has the right raw materials on hand, that overnight repair happens more completely. If it doesn't, your eyes are left trying to fix themselves with almost nothing to work with. Think back to your last few mornings. Did your eyes feel clear and rested? Or did they feel a little gritty, a little dry, maybe slightly blurry until you blinked a few times? Have you noticed it takes longer to adjust when you walk from a bright room into a dim one? Do headlights at night seem to smear a little more than they used to? These aren't just random annoyances. They're small signals, and they often trace back to what your eyes were missing while you slept. Most people assume vision changes are simply an unavoidable part of getting older, something that happens no matter what you do. There's some truth to that. Age does play a role, but there's another piece of the story that gets left out almost every time this topic comes up, and it has to do with what you eat in the hours before bed. That gap between dinner and sleep is where this story really begins. By the time most people go to bed, several hours have passed since their last meal. Blood sugar has settled, nutrient levels have dropped, and right at the exact moment your eyes are gearing up for their busiest repair window of the day, your body often has very little left to give them. This is where fruit comes into the picture, and not just any fruit. Certain fruits carry a very specific combination of nutrients that eye tissue depends on. Nutrients your eyes can actually put to use overnight if you eat the right one at the right time. Today, we're going to walk through the fruits that matter most for this, why each one works the way it does, and exactly how to eat them so your eyes get the most benefit while you sleep. Before we get into the list, it helps to understand what your eyes are actually doing at night. Because once you see the mechanism, everything else makes a lot more sense. Your retina, the light-sensitive layer at the back of your eye, is one of the most metabolically active tissues in your entire body. It uses an enormous amount of energy relative to its size, and that constant activity produces waste, a kind of cellular byproduct that needs to be cleared out regularly. During the day, while your eyes are busy processing everything you look at, there isn't much spare capacity for deep cleanup. Nighttime is different. With your eyes closed and no new visual information coming in, your body shifts into repair mode, clearing out that waste and rebuilding the tiny structures that let you see clearly. It helps to picture your eyes a little like a busy kitchen after a long day of cooking. All day long, orders keep coming in, pans keep piling up, and there's no time to stop and clean. The moment the kitchen finally closes for the night is the only real chance anyone gets to scrub the counters. Put things back in order and prepare for the next day. Your eyes work the same way. The daytime is all activity and demand. The night is the only real window for cleanup and restocking. And just like a kitchen that never gets properly restocked, eventually starts running short on what it needs. Eyes that go without the right nutrients night after night slowly start showing the effects. 2 nutrient families matter most during this window. The first is a group of pigments called lutein and zeaxanthin. These sit directly in the macula, the small central part of your retina responsible for sharp, detailed vision, the kind you use for reading, recognizing faces, and driving. Your body can't produce lutein and zeaxanthin on its own. They have to come from food, and if your diet consistently falls short, that part of your retina has less protection against everyday wear and tear. The second nutrient family is antioxidants, particularly vitamin C, and a group of plant compounds called anthocyanins. These work like a cleanup crew, neutralizing the waste produced by all that metabolic activity in your retina. Without enough of them circulating in your blood overnight, some of that waste lingers longer than it should. And over years, that lingering waste is part of what contributes to the blurriness, the fog, and the slow decline in night vision that so many people simply accept as normal aging. There's also vitamin A to consider, which your eyes need to produce a light-sensitive pigment inside your rod cells, the cells responsible for seeing in low light. If you've ever struggled to adjust when a room suddenly gets dark or found night driving more uncomfortable, weak vitamin A stores are often part of that picture. It's worth pausing here to notice something. None of these nutrients are exotic or hard to find. They're not locked away in expensive supplements. They're sitting in ordinary fruit in the produce section of any grocery store you already shop at. The gap isn't access. The gap is timing and awareness. Most people simply never connect what they eat in the evening to what their eyes are doing a few hours later. Now here's where it gets interesting. Not every fruit delivers these nutrients in a form your body can use. And timing changes everything. Some fruits are packed with the right compounds, but eaten in a way that wastes benefit. Others look unimpressive on paper, but turn out to be surprisingly effective once you understand how they work. With your body's nighttime repair cycle, let's start with the fruit most people overlook completely: kiwi. Kiwi rarely makes anyone's list of superfoods, but it deserves far more attention than it gets. One kiwi contains more vitamin C than an entire orange, and vitamin C protects tiny blood vessels. Those blood vessels are incredibly small and sensitive, and keeping them healthy allows nutrients to reach eye tissue. Kiwi also contains a modest but meaningful amount of lutein, which adds support for your macula. Eating one kiwi about an hour before bed gives your body a steady supply of vitamin C, right as your eyes begin their busiest repair work of the night. Next, let's talk about papaya. Papaya is rich in both vitamin A and vitamin C, a combination that's genuinely rare in a single fruit. That pairing matters because vitamin A supports your rod cells and their ability to function in low light, while vitamin C protects the surrounding tissue from oxidative stress. Papaya also contains a digestive enzyme that makes it easy on your stomach in the evening, which is worth mentioning because a heavy, hard-to-digest snack right before bed can interfere with sleep depth. A small bowl of ripe papaya, about half a cup, works well roughly 90 minutes before you go to sleep. There's an added benefit to papaya that often gets overlooked because it is gentle on digestion. It's a good option for anyone who's noticed that certain foods before bed leave them feeling uncomfortable. A fruit that supports your eyes but disrupts your sleep isn't actually doing you a favor, since deep, uninterrupted sleep is part of what allows the repair process to happen in the first place. Papaya manages to support both at once, which is part of why it earns a place on this list. Now here's a pause worth taking. If you've made it this far, you're clearly someone who wants to protect vision. That already puts you ahead of most people watching health content online. Drop a comment and let me know. Let me know which of these fruits you already eat regularly. It helps me understand who's watching. And it might help someone else scrolling through the comments find a starting point that feels realistic for them. Let's move to the fruit that probably comes to mind first when people think about eye health: blueberries. Let's talk about why they actually deserve that reputation. Blueberries are loaded with anthocyanins, the deep blue and purple pigments responsible for their color. These compounds are powerful antioxidants. Research has repeatedly linked them to better circulation in small blood vessels, feeding your retina. Some studies have even suggested that anthocyanins may support the eye's ability to adapt to darkness, which lines up with something a lot of people notice as they get older: that uncomfortable pause in the dark. A small handful of blueberries, about half a cup, eaten an hour before bed gives a strong dose, right as your retina moves into its overnight repair cycle. Blueberries are practical because they require no effort. There's no peeling, no cutting, no preparation of any kind. You rinse them and eat them. Most healthy habits fail, not because people don't understand the benefit, but because the habit takes too much effort. Blueberries remove that barrier almost entirely, making them the easiest of these fruits to stick with long term. Then there's the fruit that ties directly into your sleep itself: tart cherries. Tart cherries are one of the few natural food sources that actually contain measurable amounts of melatonin, the hormone your body produces to help regulate sleep. But melatonin does more than help you fall asleep. It also acts as an antioxidant inside the eye, working in your retina specifically during the hours you're asleep. That gives tart cherries a double benefit. They support deeper sleep, where eyes get the time they need to repair. A small handful of tart cherries or a few ounces of juice an hour before bed is a reasonable way to use this. Good vision isn't just about antioxidants and vitamins. It's also about the quality of your sleep itself. Almost none of the repair work we've been discussing can happen properly if your sleep is shallow. Oranges deserve a mention here too, mostly because of how often people underestimate them. An orange is a simple, accessible source of vitamin C involved in maintaining the collagen structure of your eye. As we get older, that collagen naturally weakens, and steady vitamin C intake is one of the more reliable supports. A single orange, eaten about an hour before bed, is an easy habit to build because most people have them. And finally, grapes, particularly the dark red and purple varieties, deserve a spot near the top of this list. The deep color in grape skin comes from a dense concentration of anthocyanins and resveratrol, compounds studied for their role in supporting healthy circulation and reducing oxidative stress in the eye. Eating grapes with the skin intact means you're getting the full benefit of what's actually inside that color. A small handful, 10 to 15 grapes, about an hour before bed, is enough to make this a meaningful part of routine. Grapes are also a good example of how much benefit gets thrown away without anyone realizing it. Most of the protective compounds sit concentrated in the skin, not the flesh of the fruit. Choosing to eat the whole grape, skin and all, can be the difference between a snack that barely helps and one that works. So which one is actually the best? If you had to pick just one fruit to prioritize, blueberries come out ahead. But the honest answer is that no single fruit works in isolation for eye health. Your eyes benefit far more from a rotation of these options than from eating the exact same thing every night. Now, let's talk about the mistakes that quietly undo the benefit of even the right fruit choices. The first mistake is eating fruit completely on its own with nothing else in the evening. Several key nutrients, particularly vitamin A and carotenoids, are fat-soluble, meaning they need fat for absorption. A handful of almonds or a spoonful of nut butter alongside your fruit makes a real difference here. It's a tiny adjustment, but it's the difference between a habit that mostly works and one that actually works. The second mistake is pairing your evening fruit with dairy right before bed. Calcium can interfere with the absorption of some antioxidant compounds like anthocyanins in blueberries. Keep your evening fruit as its own small ritual. Separate from dairy in that final hour before sleep. The third mistake is timing it wrong. Eat it too early, and nutrients clear your bloodstream too soon. Eat it too late, and active digestion can interfere with how deeply you actually sleep. Somewhere between 45 minutes and 90 minutes before bed tends to be the sweet spot. The fourth mistake is expecting overnight results. This isn't a habit that transforms vision after one night. Benefits build gradually over weeks of consistent use. Think of it as a steady investment in your future vision. If this is giving you something worth holding on to, now's a good moment to hit that like button. Let's talk about how to actually build this into your evening without it feeling like one more chore. Wash and portion your fruit for the week in advance so it's ready to grab without extra effort. Pick one fruit as your default for most nights, and use the others for variety once or twice a week. You don't need to hit this perfectly every single night. Life gets busy, and that is fine. What matters far more than perfection is the overall pattern across weeks and months. Which fruit sounds the most realistic for you to actually start tonight? Type it in the comments. Fruit before bed is not a replacement for regular eye exams, and it's not a cure for existing conditions. If you're noticing sudden blurriness or persistent floaters, that's a conversation for an eye doctor. Everything we've talked about works best as a layer of everyday prevention alongside proper medical care. Your eyes work incredibly hard for you every single day. Tonight, give them something back. Choose one small handful of fruit, eat in the right way at the right time to support them while you sleep. Take care of your eyes tonight. They've been taking care of you for years, and I'll see you in the next one.